Okay guys, today we are testing out the H&K VP9 SK. I was fortunate enough, I have a good buddy who has one, and in the comments I saw a few people wanting to see the comparison between this and the CR920. So I brought them both out here to the range, and I'm going to try them both out side by side. Sorry, it's a little windy here, that's why we're shaking a little bit. Let me hold that down. So bear in mind, I've never shot this. This is literally the first time I'm going to be shooting it, so it's probably going to be a little rough accuracy-wise. I'm going to give you my first impressions. I'll take out the CR920 after this and give it a go. So I know they're a little bit different platform. This is a little bit older firearm than the CR920, but some people seem interested in a comparison between the two, and I'm curious to see what I feel about this. So let's give it a couple shots, and I'll let you know what I think. Well, it does shoot actually pretty darn nice. I'm kind of surprised. I thought it'd be a little more rough than that. It shoots pretty darn good. Couple things right away that I am not a fan of whatsoever, and I noticed this when I was handling it prior, is the mag release. It is ambidextrous, so it's on both sides there. Obviously the weapon is clear, so it's there, and it is also here. Along with the slide release, there's one for your lefties, which the owner of this is, so luckily enough, now there's one for the righties as well. So I really dislike that mag release. So I got a little bit smaller hands, but for me to get on there, a lot of firearms are here. I have to drive all the way up here and almost turn the gun to get it to release. So I really dislike that. As far as the slide release goes, works well. It's easy to get your thumb on. They actually have a nice little lip here that I don't mind. The gun in itself is pretty balanced feeling. I don't mind the grip here. I have the flush fit magazine in there, and it doesn't shoot too bad. Obviously I prefer the one with the the pinky extension, which I was shooting first. As far as sights go, I'm usually not a big fan of the two dots in the rear and one in the front. I like blacked out rear sights. It kind of distracts me, but if you can see it here, let me see if we can get it lined up. Yeah, right. Ooh, this is there it is. I don't mind them. It seems pretty easy to stay on target, and it's not too distracting. Usually these kind of distract me. I'm trying to focus on that front sight, and this kind of draws my eyes back a little bit. So it does shoot well. It seems pretty darn accurate. So I'm going to shoot the CR920 now with it and see how that feels in compared to the H&K. Well, that's the CR920 shooting it back to back. Honestly, probably because it's mine and I have more rounds through it, I prefer this. Just the feel in my hand, it's a lot more comfortable. The controls for me are a lot more comfortable. One downside that I mentioned before to the CR920 that I notice is this darn slide release, it's not a huge deal, but you can see that it's pretty darn flush with the slide itself. So it doesn't have a really good lip to get a good bite on. It's super nitpicky because a lot of people aren't even really going to notice that. And that is one thing I did notice on the H&K that I really liked. It has a really good beefy slide release there, and obviously, like I said, on either side being ambidextrous. So that's one thing I'd prefer with the H&K. So going back to the CR920, I definitely like the sights more, as I mentioned before, just with that blacked out, you know, rear sight and then that tritium front sight. So that for me is just a lot easier to get my eyes drawn to. And me being a poor shot by nature, it does somewhat help get me back on target, and it seems like I can really focus on that front sight instead of having my attention drawn to the rear, which is something that I struggle with shooting. So let's go ahead and see which one's more accurate. Now bear in mind, I'm freehand shooting, which, you know, just take that for what you may. I'm not the greatest shot, but I'll do my best. We're at about 12 yards here or so. We'll step it off, and then let's give them both a go. Okay, so that is shooting the H&K VP9 SK back-to-back with the Shadow System CR920. My thoughts of the HK is I thought it shot better than I anticipated. You'll see on the tape, the grouping actually was pretty good. That was about 13 yards. The grouping is really nice, and I know I've done that with the CR920, which is pretty close. You know, for being concealment gun, I thought it shot good. Again, back to the controls that I really dislike about this. So that mag release, really not a fan. If you have bigger hands, your thumb's probably right up there. Mine is not. So I kind of have to reach forward to get it. It feels a little more blocky and bulky, and it's just, I haven't carried it. I don't have a holster for it. I didn't borrow it from my buddy, so I'm not sure about that. You can kind of make your own decision on that. It does have the rail on the bottom if you want to put a light, you know, a laser on there, anything. Obviously, it does not have the slide cut on top here, so optics are not going to be an option. It does have the rear sight here with the 2 dots in the front as well. Again, me personally, I'm not a big fan, but it actually shot pretty darn good. Accuracy wasn't a big problem for me. The trigger itself, so it kind of has a long pull before it hits the wall, and I'm kind of getting on the wall there, and there it breaks pretty free. There's not a ton of creep, so pull, creep a little bit, and break. It's not super crisp, it has a little bit of sponge to it when I pull it. But as far as if you're carrying this, and I've said this before, if you're carrying a gun for personal defense, you're probably not going to be thinking about that darn pesky trigger pull when somebody's you know, right in front of you in a confrontation type of scenario. So as far as the HK goes, I don't mind it. It is a little bit bulky, as I said. Let me take out the Shadow and compare them side by side here. Let me stand up. They are both empty and clear. So here they are side by side. This angle there, you can see the H&K is thicker for sure. Here's a top view there as well. And as far as overall length goes, you can see the Shadow in the front of the picture here and the H&K in the rear, so bigger there as well. And one disadvantage with the H&K, if you're going to go that route, even with this pinky extension, which makes it quite a bit bigger to carry, is it's only a 10-round magazine, which is really unfortunate. And I think now that everything's kind of going higher capacity for your carry guns, I think firearms like this are going to be left behind a little bit. I know HK has a good following. I just think that if you're going to spend similar money, personally, I'm going to go with something like a Shadow or a Glock, because an H&K, this runs right about 800 bucks. And, you know, if you like them, probably not a horrible deal, but for me, it just seems expensive. But a couple little perks of it too, coming in the case, which I saw that when I was looking through there. It does have removable back straps, so that's nice. You can do that. The Shadow does not have that yet on this current model. I know it does on the bigger size, the MR920s, all that, but this one doesn't. So if you have a little bit smaller hand, bigger hand, it might take kind of a specific hand size for it to get around it. But for me, it works great. And again, that carry size, I like this grip. It's so much more compact feeling. And with their extended pinky magazine there, you know, you're getting 13 rounds. So it's significantly more if you're talking about it that way. And it's just a smaller package, and it shoots very well. So I know I've been doing a lot of these CR920 videos just because a lot of people kind of want to see them stacked up against certain guns, so I'm going to try to do that. Like I said, I was fortunate to borrow this from a buddy, so this is not mine. So if the shooting was a little rough, you know, bear with me. I just kind of wanted to get this out so you guys could see it. Seems like a great gun. Seems like it shoots well. Me personally, I don't think I would get one just because I think for what you get, I would take the route of a Shadow or a Glock just because of capacity. These are a little more dated as far as slides go and everything. Trigger's a little worse, but for a concealed gun, if you like H&K, go for it. I mean, it's pretty darn accurate, seems reliable. So I'll do a little bit more shooting here between the two, and thank you guys for watching as usual. I appreciate it. Leave a comment down below and I'll try to make these videos happen, whatever you guys want to see. And like I've mentioned before, bear with me if I'm trying to get this stuff, you know, gather it from people I know, because I don't have unlimited resources here. So thanks again for Chad for letting me borrow this, and let's get a little more shooting going. Thanks, guys.